Third failure in a row. Did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
There are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult. Probably not the guy that most people would bet on.
Who wins?
It's like a little kid fighting a bunch of sumo wrestlers. Usually the sumo wrestlers win. We're a little scrappy company. Every now and again, a little scrappy company wins. And I think this will be one of them.
everyone from the Doge community that's in here tonight. I want you to listen to me very carefully. Right at this moment, I want you to stop what you're doing. Even anything else you might be doing, we'll have in the stream. And I want you to look. I want you to look at that computer screen monitor or that TV screen in front of you with that thumbnail art and my voice coming through to you right now. And I want you to understand one big, simple, epic concept. We are going to win. We are going to win. We are going to win. We've got the Doge momentum. Can you dig it?
Maybe have some fun. I mean, there's a good chance that crypto is the future currency of Earth. Right. And then it's like, well, which one is it going to be? Like, what would be the most ironic outcome? That the currency that was invented as a joke, in fact, becomes the real currency.
Right. Wow. No, absolutely. To the moon.
To the moon.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steven Steele, coming to you live. Good to see you guys. Good to see each and every one of you. Got a lot of members in the chat. I love it. What's going on, guys? We have a great show lined up for you tonight. Wow, what a huge news day it was today. And we're going to address the elephants in the room and all that and more. Got some really groundbreaking news today, some interesting news today, and some funny stuff as well. We're going to cover all of it, but before we get started, I could ask you to smash that like button. Takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. Number one thing you can do to help a emerging channel like this get up in front of more people, get into those tricky YouTube algorithms. Also, if you're brand new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. You're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele, and we have an awesome community here. We'd love to have you be a part of it. How do you do it? It's simple. It's free. You just hit subscribe. You hit that notification bell on all, and then you never have to miss one of our live stream parties for the rest of your life. And if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout this broadcast, that's obviously hugely appreciated for my time and efforts. And feel free to ask whatever questions, comments you like for myself or my esteemed colleague. And lastly, got a new merch store up. That just launched last night. Pretty exciting. Featuring two fantastic designs, if I don't say so myself. One of them, the Doge Momentum design, featured in a few different t-shirt designs for men and women, hoodies, leggings, and socks. And then there's also Steven Steele Live design as well. So feel free to check that out there. Just another way you can support the show and what we're doing here. Much appreciated. John Wood starting things off with a super chat of $2. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Who do we got in here? We've got Abstractus, The Beef Supreme, Josh Randell, Disavows, Tony C, Daniel, Greg, me, you, David, TJ, Bray Miller, Alan Schneider, Zombie Doge Army, Slay Blaze, Crypto Tank Girl, Louis Doge Millie, The Beef Supreme, Everybody Bang Stun tonight, and so many more. RNG, Louis Doge, Donna Clements. Welcome all you guys. And without any further ado, I am going to introduce to you someone who's become quite popular quite quickly around these parts. It's our co-hostess with the mostest. It's Sadaf Jadran. Sadaf, how you doing?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm decent. A lot went down today. So we are definitely in the PM here, going on 11 o'clock here in somewhere in the afternoon over in Sydney, Australia, right?
Yes, it is almost 2 p.m.
Yes, it's almost 2 p.m. So yeah, the time zone differences are major here, but it works out for both of us in that regard. So
Well, I mean, it works out for me quite well. It's like midday, but it doesn't. It's really late for you.
yeah, midday, especially in lockdown, right? I mean, you. And that's another thing. I mean, I like it because I like it in a way because it affords you more time to do the programming. But I think that's one of the only silver linings to what you're going through over there. So how are things going over there regarding all that? Things are seem to be getting ramped up crazier and crazier in Australia.
You know, it's getting crazy when Joe Rogan is mentioning Australia and how pathetic they are on his show. So, yeah, it's crazy at the moment. It's just getting worse every day. We had the highest number recorded today. I think it was like over 300. And I don't know. I think they're looking to introduce curfews since the army's not working.
Gosh.
It's crazy. I know.
That is wild. I mean, I've just been watching from over here across the pond to the level of increased militarization and authoritarianism being imposed upon the Australian people to the likes of, I'm not sure that we've seen in our lifetimes in terms of in the Western world. I really can't think of another example. I understand, I empathize with the numbers that they're up against in terms of the pandemic, but at the same time, the excessiveness on the basic freedoms of adults it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. I mean, you were actually telling us one of the last times you're on, Sadaf, that legally you can't step outside on your own property without a mask. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, no one's really doing it. If they go and check the mailbox or take the bins out, but it's if you're going for a walk around the house or you I don't know, talking to your neighbor, you should be wearing a mask.
Yeah. Sliding Edge coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Sliding Edge. Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody bang stun tonight. Happy Monday. Yeah, I think I've uttered those exact words in relation to our esteemed member of the community, Bang Stun. Carol Baskin fed her husband to the tigers, Slay Blaze says. Oh my goodness. So, how are now you're in the Sydney area, so it's one of the obviously primary major metropolitan hubs in your country. So that being said, what's the general sentiment and climate towards among the citizens towards what's been happening from what you've been seeing?
Look, I don't think there are any platforms where you can get a real sense of what everyone's feeling. I know it's all up in the air, but I think as soon as people start talking about how they're feeling, there's always the opposing opinion that's ready to bring them down. So I think everyone's sick of the lockdown. That is the general consensus. Everyone just wants their freedom back. And I think today the Prime Minister mentioned that their goal is to get everyone around the table by Christmas. So it slowly creeped. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but it went from, a 2-week lockdown to a 4-week, 6-week, 8-week, and then it got extended for an additional month. And now we're looking at getting our freedoms, or most of our freedoms, by Christmas. So, it literally went from, it was meant to be, I think it was just after my birthday, June 26th. It was meant to be for 2 weeks, and now we're looking at a 6-month by the end of the year.
I'm just taking a deep breath listening to that. I mean, so the initial suggested assertion by your government was supposed to be a 2-week extension that has quickly evolved into a 6-month extension.
Yep.
That is just That's just mind-boggling to me. I mean, it's no wonder how many people are upset. And the thing is, too, from what I've been reading about it, the government. It's not. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Sadaf, but it doesn't seem like the government over there is really offering a lot of an abundance, should we say, of financial assistance to all of the people that they've forced out of work. Would that be correct?
Yeah, and look, they have a lot of incentives out there right now to help people, but I think the application process for that itself, it has a massive backlog. People are still waiting. A lot of small business owners obviously very frustrated. You know, people work in the beauty industry, or niche industries like that. They're all struggling, and then you've got your the food industry who are open, but now you've even got cases in restaurants and stores that are just delivering to customers and obviously aren't taking. But the chefs are getting sick, and it's crazy. I think the last lockdown, Uber and everything that was virtual had a lot of success, but this time people are even wary of that. So like my Uber driver could have something, or the person who prepared my food could have something. Just a lot of fear being instilled, and people are just like losing their minds slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's really something. Fortunately, we're not experiencing, and I'm in a metropolitan area here in the United States, but fortunately, it's not as nearly as excessive as what you're experiencing right now. However, I do remember, and when this whole thing first transpired and started rolling out, and when we first began to learn of it in February of 2020. It was like a weird first 2 months, right? It was the first, I remember for me anyway, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts and experiences were. But for like the first 2 months that this transpired, I seriously thought that we were sitting on what was an equivalent to a worldwide black plague, wherein from everything I was hearing and everything that was being presented to me and how it was being presented to me, I literally thought for the first 2 months, and I'm not exaggerating, I literally thought that this thing was going to wipe out a good 40% of the world's population. Now, and then, and the more things evolved, the more we learned how much more nuanced this thing is. And not to belittle it or trivialize it by any means, and I'm not trying to do that at all. And I'm not, for the record, I'm not saying that there weren't serious threats to consider and risks to consider, and still are to a degree. But overall, the way this thing was rolled out and presented to the public, I think, was wildly irresponsible in terms of the level of hyperbole and fear that instills in people. I would say psychologically, the attack that end up proposing on not only the American public but the worldwide public, along with basically a deprivation of socialization that has gone on now for we're going to be going on like 2 years before we know it, has, I would suggest that has detrimental impacts that in some ways far exceed the potential threats of the initial pandemic that this is supposed to all be about, which I can't help but think of the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Your thoughts, Sadaf?
Yeah, 100%. I remember the first lockdown, we were washing, anything that we bought from the grocery stores, including packets and, things like that. We were literally washing everything. We'd buy carb soda. There's a lot of fear instilled. But now, like I mentioned last time, people get out of their cars in the last minute and just look for a mask that's probably been stepped on in the car and chuck it on just to avoid getting a fine. So it has evolved. I don't know if it's evolved well or not, but it has evolved.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chat here. Miles G, welcome, Miles G. Miles G is just kicking up a storm in the chat. Just enjoying my account. Wait, who's in jail right now, Miles G? He's doing great. Yes, Steven will blow up. Thank you guys. Thank you for the compliments I'm reading there. Appreciate all the comments. Very lively, very lively comment section. Josh says, guys, I looked up Sadaf. It means intelligent smoke show. Totally not lying.
Hey, you know what's funny? Thanks, Josh. That's not how you spell my name, but Miles, I added him on Instagram, and then like at the same time I had another account that was the same thing, but I didn't realize that it was Nevestments, not investments. But he had more followers than Miles himself, so I had to like message him and be like, which one is you? Because I was actually talking, and I thanked him for the ad. But it is crazy the amount of, like, I'm a nobody and I have fake accounts. But it's the fake accounts are a real thing, but when the fake accounts have more followers than the real account, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Just in case you want to follow Miles, everyone, just make sure you're following the right account.
Oh, yeah. Be careful. Yeah, Miles is killing it on YouTube. I think he's Miles got over 100,000 subscribers, doing great. He says Yoshi is in jail. Yoshi is his new Shiba Inu dog puppy that he got. So Yoshi must have been naughty, and Miles just threw away the key on Yoshi for the time being. So keep us posted, Miles. And Miles G says they buy followers, which I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt at all. So let's pivot here. Before we get to the main story of the night, kind of funny. I get like a daily rundown report of my new merch store that I set up, and so my first orders came through, and they weren't what I would think that they were. Yesterday, my first orders came through for my merch shop, and I sold. My first orders were 3 pairs of yoga pants / leggings, and then 1 T-shirt. So that's awesome. Like I wouldn't have expected that my first orders would have been 3 pairs of Dogementum leggings, and 2 pairs of Dogementum leggings, 1 pair of Steele Live yoga pants / leggings. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have expected that, but that's great. Mary's asking what country is she from. This is Sadaf. She's one of my primary co-hosts that I'm alternating with Nick, and she's from Sydney, Australia. So
the land of the free.
So now Josh is saying that your name is Persian for destined for greatness. Does that sound more accurate?
That sounds accurate.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, so guys, massive news today. And this news was unveiled as the CEO of AMC had an extensive press conference revealing quarterly earnings, a bunch of new news initiatives, even new initiatives for its stockholders as well as its customer base, and it all sounded really great, really ambitious. If you didn't have a chance to check that out, I would suggest it. I believe it was about an hour-ish long. The big runaway news from that press conference featuring the CEO of AMC was this: they have made concrete plans to become Bitcoin compliant by the end of the year. You will be able to pay with Bitcoin at any AMC theater, which is major news in terms of overall adoption that we want to see going forward. So AMC they're trailblazing it, and this is a very encouraging sign. And I'm going to pull this up. Story by Reuters. AMC Entertainment will have technology to receive Bitcoin. By the way, guys, I'm sure you've noticed my voice is shot from broadcasting so much, so that's why my voice is a bit more subdued tonight than it normally is. And I have to talk with a softer candor. So that explains that. Here we go. Cinema operator AMC Entertainment will have the technology in place to receive Bitcoin payment by end of year as payment for movie tickets, concessions. The company's CEO said on a call discussing its results. So this is great. This is a pivotal, important step. But if I don't say so myself, as I've been saying on this channel since I started it, I believe we're ahead of the curve in terms of what we know here versus what they know out there in the mainstream financial press class. So what I mean by that is this. Even though this is incredible news, the fact of the matter is, and I say this as a Bitcoin holder, very few people are going to be paying for, a couple tickets to Men in Black 5 and some Jujubes and some Reese's Pieces with Bitcoin. I mean, let's be honest here. Bitcoin is essentially digital gold. It's a fantastic appreciating asset moment to moment, has a great leverage against fiat. People knowing that there's a super limited number, much like a collector's item, are not going to spend their Bitcoin on the concession stand, guys. They're not going to throw out Bitcoin for a couple overpriced diet sodas. It's just not going to happen. But what is going to happen is, maybe the CEO already knows this, right? But what is going to happen is the dawning and the realization that in reality, what they call in the business world proof of concept, there's not going to be a lot of Bitcoin sales. But what we do know through Mark Cuban and a few other outlets where it's been tried, again, we do have proof of concept that people that hold Dogecoin are much more willing to spend Dogecoin. And in part, we have the culture of Dogecoin to thank for that. It's always been widely used as a tipping mechanism back and forth to people, as gifting back and forth to people. And people in the Dogecoin community just seem a lot more eager to spend and vote with their dog dollars. Also, it doesn't have a super hard limited cap on it, which means it has a soft annual cap, which means it's never going to get to where 50K a Dogecoin. It's never going to get to 10K a Dogecoin. I think maybe someday it could get to $10 a Dogecoin, but it's just not structured that way. It's purposely been structured to be used as a digital currency that's rather ideal for a retail space, purchasing both large and small for a large amount of people. When Billy Marcus coded and created Dogecoin, it was in part coding, in part borrowed from the coding template of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Lucky Coin, with some added tweaks to make. But the tweaks are small, but they seem small on the surface, but they're actually very significant, which has led to the place where we are right now, where Dogecoin is more well positioned, I feel, than any other coin on the top 10 anyway, to be used on a wide scale in a retail space. Now, do I think Dogecoin will be the only one that people will be using on a wide scale retail space? No, I don't. But I think it is the one that's best situated for that. And furthermore, my last point that I just wanted to add to this is the entire reason why AMC is where it's at right now, with a resurgence in shareholders and all this publicity. And all this excitement and rejuvenation, particularly, which is remarkable considering the nature of what AMC's business is in the midst of this ongoing pandemic, right? But with that in mind, the reason why this has all happened is because essentially because AMC had become a meme stock, and there's a very dedicated, passionate movement, the stonks movement, that has propelled AMC to the place to where it is, which is why we're all talking about it right now, why it is where it is right now when it arguably could be super dead in the water, and it's not. As the most recent quarterly earnings have showed, it's exceeded most everyone's expectations. So with that in mind too, the Dogecoin movement has a lot, there's a lot of parallels between what the Dogecoin community and the AMC community, and the reason why they are where they are. So it would just make sense. And that's what I said in my tweet that ended up being getting a like from Elon Musk. I just said it just makes sense. It just makes sense. These are two populist movements, essentially, investor movements. And Dogecoin is people. I am convinced that if they added Dogecoin, people would be spending Dogecoin at the concession stand. People would be spending Dogecoin for the ticket sales. People would be spending Dogecoin on their websites for their pre-sales and everything else that goes along with the online purchasing with AMC. So I think inevitably they are going to almost have to evolve into Dogecoin or Dogecoin with a short list of other cryptocurrencies to be accepted. Me personally, I think it would probably be most advantageous from a marketing standpoint to keep it simple, to just put Bitcoin and Dogecoin and maybe add a third down the road after that. Because I think Sadaf, it's my opinion that when a large business all of a sudden says, we accept cryptocurrency, and then I see like 8, I'm like, too much. Me personally, I think that's like almost too overwhelming for like the average person. If you can get just like 3 maybe and start there, or even with 2, I think that has more of a higher chance of probability of people actually paying more attention to it and entertaining cryptocurrency as a checkout process. What are your thoughts on all this, Sadaf? I know I went off on a very long tangent there in my opinions on this. I didn't mean to crowd you out.
No, it's awesome. It's a lot of information to take in, but I think to your point about Bitcoin being accepted and people using it, I don't think the people who bought it, back at inception or a couple of years after inception would have a problem. I think they'd be using it because they bought it obviously at ridiculously cheap prices. And I think that's why the sentiment around Dogecoin holders who obviously bought it very cheap, they wouldn't hesitate to use it as well. I think it's the people that are getting in now at higher prices that wouldn't, because they're waiting for the true price for it to evolve to that, right? But yeah, I do agree. Like I have one of my local coffee shops who have just recently started accepting Bitcoin for coffee. Yeah, but it's just a little confusing because the poor guy, I think, spends more time answering questions about how it's working. How am I getting my change? What are you taking from the so many questions this poor guy has to, and he doesn't really have the answers because he's just gone to a third party and gone, can you kind of connect this up for me? So it's obviously the first stages, but I think with retailers opening the doors to accepting crypto for any of their products or services, I think that's the transition point. I think that's how we finally move into people not being so afraid of using their digital currency. And that's how we eventually, I think, move away from fiat altogether.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well stated there. I've always felt that cryptocurrency the way I see it fitting in best in a mainstreamed fashion, is when it comes to the checkout process, that just get cryptocurrency as almost as popular as a debit card or a credit card option, right? For me, I've never envisioned or necessarily even specifically ever wanted cryptocurrency to entirely replace fiat, because I do think there is a certain level of important inherent value and roles that each country's respective national currency plays, and I think that should stay into play personally. But at the same time, I just see cryptocurrency as a inevitable, super necessary third option, wherein and there's so many obvious needs that it fills, right? I think most people would rather default to cryptocurrency than for sending and receiving money than, let's say, like Western Union or something that's very inefficient and inconvenient and saddled with lots of fees. And I don't know if you've ever been into a Western Union, but the wait is always long. It doesn't matter if there's one person in front of you or 10 people in front of you. You're not getting out of there in less than 30 minutes. You're just not. And then they're just very unpleasant. It's almost like when you go into a Western Union, it's like being forced to go on the worst subway in a city, except when it comes to like a currency transaction. I almost feel like every time I go into a Western Union, it doesn't even matter on what side of town it is or where it is. I always feel like I always feel like I'm engaged in some like weird drug deal or something.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'm so excited about crypto in general solving exchange fees and foreign exchange fees. That entire, I think, vertical is probably the most painful one. I remember, so things like, for example, XRP, what they're trying to do is, like, for me, it is solving a lot of consumer pain points. And when you look at, like, I remember I was in Canada and the States in 2010, and they only had, the energy drink Red Bull. They only had Red Bull. So I was very used to this other one called V. I don't know if you guys have heard of that or not, but it's another one, and I was very used to that here. And I remember I spent 6 months there. I went on a pretty long holiday. And sorry, I'm having a coughing fit.
No, it's all right.
When I came back at the airport, I realized they're very overpriced at the airport. But I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna get a can while I was waiting for my lift. And I had 20 Canadian dollars with me at the time, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and exchange this because, or whatever, I'm not gonna use it anyway. It cost me $11 for the fee at those little Western Union, the hubs that they have at the airport. It cost me $11 to change that, and then in return, I think I got like $6.80 after the conversion from a $20 note, right? And then the V itself was about $6.50 at the airport. So I literally got rid of 20 Canadian dollars for a can of like energy drink that I'd normally pay like $2 for here. Well, at the time. Crazy. Like pain points like that, or even services that I recently paid for online. It was a design service in the States. So I obviously paid her in US dollars, which cost me a lot more Australian dollars. And then turned out she couldn't actually fulfill the service that I needed. So she refunded the money, but then on the refund, I lost more money.
Gosh.
Yeah, so it was a service that was meant to be like 110 that I ended up paying 150 Australian for, but then when she sent 110 back to me, the price had come down. So I lost like overall a good $40 or $42 on that transaction for no reason. Like things like that, I think they're so significant in this shift. And as much as people want to, people are still calling it a scam, and people are still calling it something that isn't going to see it. We're not going to see through. I think it's crazy that we still have people thinking like that.
Right. Yeah, I think inevitably over time that people that do have that perspective on cryptocurrency now, it's over time looking back on it, it's going to hold a lot of comedic value,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to it's not going to age well,
Much like all of the bearish comments I've been seeing for the last few months.
Yeah.
And the market proving them wrong now. And I mentioned a few days ago, like the amount of bears that I see, and I respect everybody's analysis, and I love seeing people come up with different ways of how they arrived at their their viewpoint. But I don't like people who have to give their opinion and then give others a backhand, or just say things like, don't come to me crying when it all goes to shit. Like, it is so disrespectful, and I just think it says so much about the person. But I'm seeing now that the market's obviously slowly working its way back up. All of these tweets didn't age well, and people are hiding comments. There's a nice little telegram someone sent me a few days ago, which is about basically it's all the tweets that are deleted. It's so interesting. Like, it's a good telegram, but it, like, big accounts that tweet something and then delete it. This telegram obviously have the time dedicated to screenshotting and telling you exactly when they deleted it. It's really funny. But it's crazy. The sentiment in the market, a lot of things aren't aging well.
No, not at all. And I've seen you kind of have some spirited back and forth on Twitter with some of these bears, and I've found it to be
I had a
immensely
bear
amusing.
apologize to me. I had a bear apologize to me yesterday. So that was a great moment. Only because obviously I don't argue with people online, and I'm not condescending, and I try and, like, I am nice to everybody, and I think he felt really stupid because he decided to attack me for no reason.
Yeah. So there's a. Oh my gosh, I haven't had one of these guys in the chat in a while, but it's all because the channel's growing. So I don't even know how to pronounce your username. Cypher OX. Sounds like I don't know. I could be wrong. Sounds like a Bitcoin maximalist or something like that. He has 101 criticisms of Doge, and it's like one of these guys. It's like it's like Groundhog's Day, It's like, I don't know how many more times I wish I just had a button to explain and correct all the most common misunderstandings and that are propagated about Dogecoin, because it's just like over and over and over you have to explain stuff to guys like this, and who pride themselves on being much more intelligent than they actually are. Google Dunning-Kruger effect. But this idea that Doge is completely unlimited cap is it's not true. So Doge has a soft cap of 5 billion annual per year, and the reason why it has a soft annual cap of 5 billion per year is because it's structured to be an actual currency, and so that it doesn't, as time goes on, it doesn't turn into essentially a collector's item of just a single appreciating asset. Sorry if there's a little noise here, but I've got a very needy Doge myself here vying for my attention. It's okay. Yeah, so so with that in mind, that's what makes it so significant compared to Bitcoin and even Ethereum, respectfully, in terms of the gas fees are significantly lower than both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then the transaction speeds are also lightning quick comparatively. Now both of those things are being enormously helped with the evolutions that Ethereum is going through now, and also that is one of the main reasons. These are some of the main reasons why Vitalik Buterin himself has been such a big proponent of a pairing between Dogecoin and Ethereum, which, as we understand now that we've talked more extensively with developers on both ends, the Dogecoin and Ethereum teams, that we understand how mutually beneficial it has been for both coins respectively. And then there's this other aspect wherein people are like, well, why Doge? Why not Litecoin? Why not something else that's kind of similar? Well, there are a few key, minor but key tweaks that do differentiate it. Firstly, secondly, Doge has a super strong community. It's fucking dog money. It's silly. It's funny. People get a kick out of it. We don't take ourselves too seriously all the time. And who wants to? We don't want to. And the other communities that if you're upset about that, and if you're upset about the fact that we happen to have a much larger community than the Litecoin community, or much larger communities than any other communities in crypto, well, I really don't know what to tell you. You can just sit in the corner and drink your bitter punch, or you can just loosen up and be a part of the party. I can't force you to loosen up and not be a dick. Whatever. So, and I'm not saying that you even have to buy Dogecoin or be super into it, but to be at this stage in the game and not really understand or appreciate how much of this has to do with having a vibrant, excited, expanding community, to me is it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's obviously a key component to all of this. So I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. So let's see here. This comes courtesy of Cointelegraph. They kind of tackled the story a little bit differently. Did a pretty good job. Brian Cornby. Cinema operator AMC plans to accept Bitcoin by 2022. AMC chairman, CEO Adam Aron revealed the American cinema giant is looking to accept Bitcoin payments for movie tickets in response to customer demand. While details regarding AMC's plan to accept Bitcoin are scant, Aaron reported strong demand for buying movie tickets with crypto from the firm's customers. AMC's Q2 results showed significant improvements compared to last year, reporting $444 million in revenue compared to 2020's $18.9 million in revenue. Net losses also declined from $561 million, or $5.38 per share, to $349 million, 71 cents per share year over year. Along with adopting Bitcoin payments, AMC also announced plans to be open more than one dozen locations across the U.S., Europe, and Middle East this year. The chairman also made an unlikely claim that he first learned about crypto assets after being elected to the board of Centricus Acquisition Corp on May 6, 1 week before Centricus acquired blockchain technology firm. So, a couple key takeaways from here. Firstly, the Q2 results have more than doubled of where they were this time last year, which was incredibly encouraging news for everyone, and definitely exceeded the expectations of what most people were expecting to be revealed. Obviously, great. Secondly, I think it's very notable that he claimed to first learned about crypto assets after being elected to the board on Centricus Acquisition on May 6th. I think that really kind of fills in some gaps in understanding what's going on here. Thirdly, I don't know if it doesn't look like they mention it in this article here, but AMC, the AMC CEO today, was also talking about super cool initiatives wherein any shareholders are going to be the recipients of a lot of promotions in terms of discounts and even like pre-screenings. They're going to get the first dibs on pre-screenings and special events of that nature. And yeah, regular discounts, even nights where like buy one, get one free kind of stuff. So this is wildly exciting. So I don't know how they're going to, if they're going to ask for like screenshots of you being like a shareholder. AMC, like you come with your app and you show them or whatever. I think that'd be cool. Maybe it sounded like he's taking initiative to train all his employees to check these things. But I think this is wildly exciting, not just for cryptocurrency, but the idea that that he's taking such hardcore initiatives to make AMC shareholders regular, excited customers, I think is really cool. And so why I think that's significant and why I think this is why I'm even talking about it is because so many times, Sadaf, there seems to be a huge disconnect between the CEO class and the investment class and what's going on the ground as far as who's actually spending money, who the customer base is. Usually those worlds rarely merge on a mass scale. But since AMC is such like a stonks kind of populist kind of investor movement now, he's well aware of that and is making very aggressive steps to merge those two worlds together. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it all just comes back to the shift that I was referring to. Like these are big milestones, and it's taking us exactly where we want to go. And I think anyone who has any doubts about just crypto in general, I have a new saying that I just use because of Peter Schiff. I don't have time for that shift, you know?
I see what you did there. I like it. This is the last time I address this guy. Cypher says, Vitalik does not support Dogecoin. That was a joke. Okay, so you must be new here. So a regular guest on the show, his name is Ross Nickel. He's the primary developer and primary Dogecoin developer and contributor going back to 2013. He has been corresponding with both Elon Musk and Vitalik Buterin about a Dogecoin Ethereum bridge. All the stuff is well documented. You can even go look on Ross Nichols' Twitch channel, wherein he recently hosted Vitalik Buterin himself to talk about these very things. So,
Can I just say, for anyone who's been in crypto since 2012, if you've been in it properly, you would not have time to get on a show, I don't know what time it is at night for him or this individual, and talk shit. People that I know that have been in crypto since 2012 are rolling in their millions and don't have time to actually talk shit. So I think it's probably still a learning curve for this individual. I think they're still learning. I think they've probably sat through 2 bull markets and lost a lot of money. It just says so much about the person. Like, if your questions are genuine, do some research. But if you're going to use I'm seeing a lot of this at the moment on Twitter as well. The people think they're better than someone because one, they invested early. You could have known about crypto really early, but you could have invested incorrectly. You could have lost a lot of money. You didn't know what the hell was going on. And secondly, people's rebuttal lately have been to people that don't agree with them. The rebuttal that I always see is, I bought at the bottom, you bought at the top. No, like that, it's just, I think it's just so cocky and it's so stupid. And I think just go do your own research.
Yeah. Ross, thank you for $1 super chat there. Yeah, I obviously I fully agree. Someone else is claiming I was dogging us apes a couple months back. Are you referring to AMC apes? That's not true. I was an AMC shareholder early on. When I mean early on, like maybe 10 or 11 months ago, and then I sold. I sold prematurely, and then I got back in out of support to what was going on AMC. So I bought some shares and got back in then. But I've never spoken disparagingly about AMC apes. No, that's not true. So, guys, you're listening to Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. My co-hostess is Sadaf Jadran, coming to us live from Sydney, Australia. If you haven't pressed the like button, if you take a moment to do that, takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. And also, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout this episode, that's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts put in. And I would encourage you guys to check out the new merch shop. Got Dogementum t-shirts. I just got my Dogementum t-shirt in the mail today, and it looks awesome. I also I have a hoodie, and they look great. And then so feel free. There's two really cool designs there, so feel free to check it out. This is another way you can support the efforts over here. And if you're new, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe. We've got a really, really great community here. And the Discord's really been growing lately, and that's great to see. And the meme community from the Steven Steele community has been off the chain lately. You guys, your meme game has been really next level and just like nonstop. Very, very impressive. Especially what's his name, Zero Fox. That guy's got the digital meme game, the GIF meme game down pretty solid, man. Pretty impressive. Anyway, let's just kind of pivot to another story, and we'll circle back to the AMC thing in a bit because I on some closing thoughts with that. But this is come courtesy, just an interesting story I came across today, courtesy of the New York Post. Check this out: Teen T-E-E-N, crypto trader shot dead in his own Porsche after flaunting lavish lifestyle on Instagram. A young crypto trader who flaunted his wealth on Instagram has been shot dead at the wheel of his red Porsche Boxster. Gunmen unleashed as hails of bullets upon the 19-year-old Wesley Santarum as he drove through the Brazilian city of São Pedro. I'm probably going to butcher the last words. São Pedro de Aldeia. Chilling video footage filmed in the aftermath of the broad daylight shooting today shows Wesley motionless in the driver's seat of his car with a white t-shirt soaked in blood. There's a visible bullet wound to the neck. Shocking killings are coming as gangs are increasingly targeting the so-called insta-bragging Bitcoin traders and influencers after they have flaunted their wealth on social media. Despite being just 19, Wesley had apparently made a fortune as a cryptocurrency trader and investor the last 3 years. On Instagram, he flaunted his wealth and expensive lifestyle to about 150,000 followers, plus a YouTube channel with about 16,000 where he gave trading tips. His last Insta post was a post of him sitting in a red Porsche in which he was shot as he flicks through wads of cash. Guys, so
oh my goodness,
this is wild. There's obviously a big lessons to be learned here. Firstly, and I almost don't fault the kid because he's only 19 and literally our cognitive capacities aren't fully developed till the age of 24. But to me, the first thing that stands out to me is you probably don't want, if you live in a country like Brazil, which is constantly toggling between the status of second and third world, you probably don't want to let everybody know your financial status. if you are if you've come across some great fortune. If I personally was living in a country like that, an environment with those kinds of economic and crime challenges, no one, and I don't even think my own family would know that I was a crypto millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, the lack of judgment this poor kid exercised, where he just made his whole steez, his whole presence as just this super flashy, Louis Vuitton Porsche wielding hotshot kid in the middle of a super high crime area. I just can't even wrap my head around that. I mean, there are so many other ways he could have handled this, not only more responsibly and more intelligently, but I mean, he could have got himself like out of there with that kind of money. I don't know why he didn't just
Right? I know so many people
just
who
move
have,
somewhere else.
Yeah, I know so many people who have made a lot of money and have moved to like Dubai or
Right.
one because of like no tax and but just the lifestyle. But I keep saying this and I've said this a few times. You get so many bots or so many genuine accounts getting into your DMs and asking you what you hold and how much you have. And I've told you about our taxation office doing this to people. Stop fucking sharing it. Sorry, like I normally don't swear, but stop
That's all right.
sharing it. It's crazy that people just openly want to put themselves at risk.
Yeah, it's amazing. This kind of reminds me of this was pretty cool. There was in the state that I reside. This was a couple years ago. There was a big lottery winner. And the lottery had gotten to be built up to something crazy, like 20 million or something. And the winner was announced, and they always do like a public presser for that with the person. And the dude who won, I could tell just kind of by his overall stature that he's probably a young man, but he had a mask on of Richard Nixon, and he had a mask all on his face, and through the whole thing he had himself disguised as he accepted the symbolic check and stuff like that. I thought that was a really good idea. He didn't want anyone to know who his face was. He's like, yeah, like, I won this. I just got to go through this, and I just want to get out of here.
I love watching documentaries about like people who have won big in the lottery and how their lives have changed, and generally it's for the worse, right? But a lot of them, the sentiment is when they want to disguise themselves, they're not, you should be concerned about the general public and the safety and the risk that comes with, strangers knowing, but a lot of them are actually concerned about family and friends because, they get asked, the charity, everyone's just asking for money, and they want to, a lot of them have expressed that they like to hide their identity because of family and friends that are going to be begging, and it's crazy.
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone wants to be your friend, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone needs help paying their houses off.
Yeah, all of a sudden people that have never reached out to you to see how you're doing, or even could care less, all of a sudden wanting to be your buddy. People get real funny when there's a lot of money. So yeah, I mean, I think the moral of the story on that one's pretty clear at this point. Let's see here. So this is a really great story. And this came courtesy of Cointelegraph. By the way, and I haven't been. This isn't like I'm not sponsored by them, but I just have to say, because I comb through copious amounts of crypto-related news every day, Cointelegraph is killing it. They've been my favorite. I think Cointelegraph overall, they come out with the most interesting, the variety of stories, crypto-centric stories, and I think the writing is it's just really, really top notch. Oh, so this story comes courtesy of Coin Telegraph, written by Chris Jones. Wallet recovery service helps man regain access to 10 million Doge. This retired truck driver was locked out of 10 million Doge, worth over $3 million currently. Then a wallet recovery service came to the rescue and reunited him with his fortune. A wallet recovery service says it has achieved the impossible, opening a 6-year-old wallet that contained 10 million Doge. Keychain X said it was contacted by a retired truck driver who had purchased a massive Dogecoin stash back in 2015 for about $1,500.
Oh, wow.
Fast forward to now, and its value had increased by more than 2,000x, which would now be worth more than $3 million. Sounds like he made similar investment decisions as Nick. Here's the problem. The PIN to his Android wallet was 12 digits long, something that the company thought would be impossible to crack in a lifetime. Wow. The KeyX team got to work by asking for numbers that had significance to him, such as the year of his birth. From there, they had analyzed the wallet he had used to assess the type of wallet encryption that had been deployed. An endless range of experimentation took place, and then a breakthrough happened. They realized that part of the wallet owner's hints may be that they realized that part of the wallet owner's hints may be the PIN, and it worked. One of the most nail-biting moments for Keychain X was ensuring that the funds in the wallet were safely moved because it dated back 6+ years. The team estimated that it would take several days to sync. The most nerve-wracking moment involved completing a small test transaction to ensure that Doge from the amount could safely reach its new destination. The CEO of Keychain X said the delighted Doge investor had promised to share a beer next time he's in town. He added, "Losing a PIN to your wallet is not bad after all. If you manage to open it years later, it could be a life-changing amount. This time, it was." So, holy smokes! Here they started, Sadaf, with an objective wherein, on the surface, it seemed like was nearly impossible. It couldn't even be achieved in a lifetime, and here they recovered it. And this is so cool. Here's an interesting story. This guy's a trucker, a working class trucker who for some reason invested in Dogecoin in 2015, and now is a multi-millionaire. Keychain X, man, that is very impressive, and I think he owes that CEO more than a beer, personally. I wonder how.
I was just about to say that's pretty for what they just did for you. But you know what? I as you were speaking about this, I've always said if anyone can come up with, a service where this is literally what they're dedicated to, I think it'd be. It's because it's not just the people in the past. We're going to have the same problem 4 years down the track and 10 years down the track, and this is an ongoing problem. And I just feel like there's such a big market for people who can do it, recover this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be an inevitable emerging market, right? This is going to be something that's going to be extremely profitable for those companies who are on top of this and are going to be successful at it, where it seems that Keychain X is right at the forefront of it, number one. Number two, something that comes to mind is just how profitable it could be if you're one of these companies in terms of if you're working on commission, right? So let's say...
Well, yeah.
I
think they should have done that.
They definitely should have done that. And honestly, I know that sounds rather shrewd from a business standpoint, but I think they deserve it personally.
100%.
If no one else can perform the service for you, it requires a lot of skill and immense intense work and knowledge in cryptography. So if there's only a handful of firms in the entire world that even have a shot of turning you in from month to month bill paying truck driver into a multi-millionaire, at that point, what's $500,000, right?
Exactly.
I think it's well deserved and well worth it. For example, if I was in his position and it was a matter of $3 million and only one company that had even the capability to recover that level of wealth for me, if they charged me $400,000 or $500,000 on it, I'd be totally cool with it. I'd hardly blink. What do you say?
100%. That's that's $1 million you don't have, and that's it. Like, if there's someone that can do that for, and this, look, I share the same sentiment with people who complain about paid groups. Obviously, my views on that is anything that you're good at, anything that you can do that someone else cannot do, you are entitled to make money off it. If people have a problem with that, there are obviously free services and they can go down that avenue, but you cannot hate and have a problem with people. And you see so much of that on Twitter, and some big influencers, just making it seem like, oh, this is a charity. When did crypto become a charity? Crypto is going to be a business like any other business. Yes, it's the start, and we all want to make life-changing money and change our lives, and it's a community away from the norm and all of that, but it's not a charity. And if people have dedicated 30 years, they have 30 years of experience, they've dedicated their lives to perfecting their art, and they're taking a fee that's essentially giving you your time back. You don't need to learn it. You're just going to use their calls and make money, and there are good reviews. I don't know why people have a problem with it. And
right,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. There's this guy could have continued to be a truck driver, but there was a business there that wanted to take the risk and recover it for him, and they did, and they deserve, I think, a bigger payment than that.
Yeah, big agree, and really well stated there, Sadaf. Hearing you talk, it reminded me of something else, wherein, and Nick and I actually had a really good discussion on this several nights ago on the show. Basically talking about how would I describe this? Basically talking about on one end of the spectrum within crypto, you have a subsect within crypto where it's people just jumping from one BSC token to another. It's a seedy world filled with constant rug pulls and kind of even a lot more high risk than the rest of the market is. But it's high risk, high reward, and I'm not against people leveling up in that way either. I just, like I always say, just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, number one, and then number two, don't invest very much of your portfolio allotted budget into BSCs. But so you have all of that, but then you have on the far other end an extreme too that we talked about, wherein people are militantly against all BSC investments, and they're super bearish on crypto to the point of illogical idiocy. And then at that point, it kind of becomes a horseshoe theory where both sides are so extreme they're actually kind of meeting each other. The people on that last side that I told you about, and I, as a content creator, these are kind of people you deal with on a regular basis, but they say stuff to content creators and like myself. Oh, like, you're just doing this for super chat money, or you just, I see another person disparaged me for opening a merch store today. Another person said, oh, you just posted this link here because you're trying to get more views. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Of course I'm trying to get more views. I am a cryptocurrency content creator. the whole point is to get more views, to get more investors, to get more people involved in cryptocurrency, to make it more of a vibrant, sustainable thing into the future. I happen to be very bullish on Dogecoin. Of course, I want more Dogecoin investors. That's part of my function as being a Doge-centric content creator, is to make it fun, positive, alluring, exciting, and informative. Right? Of course, I want more views. And for as much fucking time as I spend on this, and I love it. By the way, I love it, you guys. Of course, I'm going to need a certain level of compensation to allow me to spend as much time on it as I can. Lastly, to me, for anybody to be involved in cryptocurrency and then to criticize people for trying to make money in cryptocurrency is so beyond idiotic. I mean, I just don't even know where to start. It's just so stupid. It's just...
You don't see it in any other profession. Like, imagine just asking a doctor to operate on someone for free because they know how to do it. Like, it's actually ridiculous, and that's not how business works. That's not an entrepreneurial mind. It's ridiculous. But also, in saying that, there are so many free services out there. There are so many things that are out there for free. Maybe from people who have, made too much money and they just want to do their little bit and not be involved as much. But then you see people who are dedicating day and night to Discords, to Telegrams, to content, to all of that stuff. And if there's a fee that's attached because, let's say, people are working for them to bring that content to people, like, you have the choice. And I don't mind when the general public are complaining that, it needs to be free, whatever, people have an opinion. But what I do mind is when influencers at the same level are complaining about a fellow influencer. And I'm talking about the people in the hundreds of thousands, right?
Sure.
And complaining about other people charging people and that they're scam artists. And I just think it's so bitter. And honestly, the first thing that comes to mind for me is you probably haven't made enough money and you're just sour about it. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm against scam artists. I'm avidly against those things. But then there's, I think what you're talking about, it's like, well, what do you define as a scam artist, and what do you define as a scam? And there's certain people out there, they're kind of extremists in my opinion, that anything that involves making money in crypto is a scam. It means you're a scammer. It's just like, what do you think you realize this is cryptocurrency, right? You realize you're essentially you're calling, it's just, I don't know. It's like,
I'm telling you, at some point crypto just became charity currency. That's what it became. The whole sentiment around crypto has just become, it's a charity. We should be helping each other out. We could still be doing that and paying someone, I don't know, a $10 fee or a $200 fee per year for their, Telegram channel or whatever it is. It's not like it's thousands and thousands of dollars, which we still choose to pay for all the other things that we do in our life. And that includes, whatever, hospital fees, that includes education, that includes rent, that includes all of those other things. So if you are making, significant money from crypto and there are people who are contributing to that significant success, shut up and pay the fee. They have spent years and years perfecting that. It's such a slap in the face for people who have done so much work to bring that content out to people, and especially the number of years these people have endured the backlash and the hate and the doubts. Just because it's kind of rising up this time and it's making a change. And you know what? The same people complaining are the people that are going to need so much more of this help during a bear market because it's so much harder, right? Everyone's just enjoying it at the moment because we had a good little bull run and whatever, a mini pump, and now we're kind of, the sentiment is there for a second one, and we don't think we've finished the cycle. Whatever it is, you've made some easy money from shit coins, from stable coins. You've made some easy money. It's not the same during a bear market, and these people are the same people you're going to need calling those shots. Like someone like Lisa, for example, she has two types of services. And free shout out to Lisa. Like, she's incredible. But she's got two free services. One where she helps people, take $1,000 and make it $1 million, and she's basically telling you which areas you should buy in, when to expect the pullback, which coins she's investing in, basically every single thing. And she'll give you a range for the areas to buy in and a range for the areas to sell in. And then she's got a paid one, which is $69 a month. But she's literally doing the legwork for you. She's telling you to buy it at $1.05 and sell it at $1.25. Like, she's literally telling you exactly what to do. So I cannot understand how anyone could complain about that poor woman, providing both services. People just want to be spoon-fed, I think.
Yeah. It's the level of entitlement on some folks is really off the charts. Josh Randell disavows $10 super chat. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you, man. The low IQ haters are so fatiguing. Your core supporters ain't going anywhere. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, man. I certainly know that you're one. It's interesting how you can come on, like, obviously I have a very kind of a Doge-centric kind of programming here, but it's interesting how, I will say this, it's a minority of folks. It's a minority, but a vocal minority will be criticizing me for going to the mat night after night after night for over 4 months, been almost broadcasting every single night, helping their own investment. It's just like,
how dare you, Stephen?
Like, it's like, you're wasting time talking shit about me because you don't like my personality, or you think that you're just assuming what my intentions or motives are without knowing me. When I'm on the internet every single night and making content that's helping your investment, you dummies. It's like, what is this? Anyway, people are wondering you about Lisa who?
Lisa N. Edwards.
Yeah.
I follow her. She's almost at 100 followers, but she is incredible, and she's got a free one that she does with everyone. It's called 1,000 to 1 million, and she's literally getting you to invest $1,000, and she's giving you the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet. Everything's there, and you literally just enter a trade. You sell at about 3 to 5% profit, and you keep compounding. And she tells you that you can do it within 365 days. And you know what? I started it for fun, and I am. That's just a side one. And so many other people in her groups, like, they're all making it's so possible. Like, she's incredible. But you guys should give her a follow.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I know she is. I'm pretty sure I already follow her, but I'll double check it. Let's kind of pivot to next story here. Elon Musk plans to put billboards in space, and people want to shoot them at the sun. What an interesting take. What an interesting way of framing this. It turns out this comes courtesy of The Wrap, aka and through also through Yahoo. It turns out Elon Musk doesn't just want to send billionaires to space, he also wants to send advertising, and that idea isn't sitting well with earthbound critics. I can already tell, Sadaf, from the way this journalist framed the headline, and we're one paragraph deep, I just know where this is going. But I will continue. Business Insider reports the plan is for Musk's SpaceX to work with Geometric Energy Corporation, who we know, Sadaf. We hosted the CEO of that.
Love him.
About 3 weeks ago, to send a square shape cube satellite with one side used as a display screen into space by 2022. The satellite would allow people or companies to blow what's likely a pretty hefty fee in order to project an advertising on the satellite as it orbits the Earth. Some people asked the question of who will even see these ads, since they'll be thousands of miles from the average human's eyesight. CEO Samuel Reed explained to Business Insider that the satellite will be equipped with a selfie stick attached to the outside of the satellite, so it can film and display the screen and then live stream ads to platforms like YouTube and Twitch. Reed didn't say how hefty of a price advertisers would have to pay, but he did say that SpaceX will accept cryptocurrencies as payment. It seems that anyone could be an advertiser on the satellite if they have the cash. Reed told Insider he wants to democratize access to it. I'm trying to achieve something that can democratize access to space and allow for decentralized participation, Reed told Business Insider. Hopefully, people don't waste money on something inappropriate, insulting, or offensive. Whatever reaction they expected, it probably wasn't the torrent of mockery or scorn the announcement generated. So how long until we're projecting adverts onto the surface of the moon, wrote Mark Newbold. F this guy and F his raping of our night skies, someone says. Fire him into the effing sun. Billionaires are planetary cancer. Horror author Alan Baxter said, not mincing words. Goodness gracious, Alan Baxter. Alan Baxter, could you... Okay, so now I'm... Okay, here we are. Alan Baxter is apparently a... I just clicked the link to the tweet. So Alan Baxter is apparently a horror novelist, writer, and a self-described whiskey-soaked swear monkey. And he is the one that tweeted this. And he is a official blue check mark, of course. And it's amazing to me that there's folks like this that make it through this far in life. This guy looks to be around my age, probably a little bit older perhaps. And this type of absolutely bombastic, juvenile, ridiculous, over-the-top, petulant reaction to a project like this is inadvertently holds unintended comedic value, firstly. But secondly, he's serious though too, right? So look, these are the same kind of people that calls space exploration a waste of money, a waste when it's always juxtaposition. Like Bernie Sanders was going back and forth with trading barbs with Elon Musk a few months ago about this. And the position always goes something like this, like, why are you wasting all this money on space exploration while people are still hungry? Go hungry on Earth, shame on you, right? And this is just such a limited, overly simplistic, annoyingly boring take, in my opinion, because firstly, we need to take advantage of the brilliant minds we have here on Earth while they're on Earth, firstly, to achieve the technological advancements that we can while we have them on Earth. People with the vision and resources that Elon has in order to accomplish the things he's accomplishing, they don't come along every day, guys. You know, you're lucky if they come along once in a lifetime. You need to capitalize on it while they're still on the planet.
Evangelists will always have this issue. You know, anything that they think of will always be discredited or criticized, and that's just part of being it. And that's why so many of them don't pull through, and only a few of them do actually achieve what they're meant to achieve. But I mean, similar to Henry Ford, right? He said if I asked people what kind of a car they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse, or whatever that saying is. But it's the same thing, right? So sometimes you just need to move with stealth and just ignore people.
I know. I didn't even expect to come across this guy's tweet in this article. I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, dude, calm down. Like, calm your tits, dude. Like, it's just as ridiculous. Jason Huffman, $10 super chat. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. For your time, thanks. Thank you back, sir. Thank you for supporting this show since its inception. So, you know, it's just so funny. The raping of our night skies. That's a bit over the top, don't you think?
Yeah. Just, like I said, Henry Ford, the quote is actually, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse and not a car. You know, just let a few, there are so many other, you know, places that we could pick on to solve world hunger before we pick on Elon and what he's doing. And what so many of us are curious about, and like you said, majority of the people that have an issue with that at the moment are probably the same people who think the Earth is flat. So I don't know. You just weigh out the pros and cons and move.
Yeah. It's just F these billionaires raping our night skies with their space exploration once every couple months. Like it's gonna make a difference. Like,
you know what's funny? As you said,
like it's gonna make that's gonna make an environmental negative impact when you for how vast the universe is. It's just so stupid. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we don't know the effects, right? It could do it in outer space, and we don't know. But as you were talking about the advertising in space, and whether we can see it or not, I kept thinking maybe it's not us that they're advertising to. Maybe they're trying to advertise to other life. I don't know.
Well, I think, we'll see how it bears out, but to me this seems like fun and funny and rather innocuous in terms of consequence. As Carl Sagan once said, always referred to billions and billions, meaning there's billions and billions of stars and planets that go on forever. The idea that we're us sending up rockets to space is going to have some detrimental environmental impact with a universe that large and vast to me seems so silly, honestly. But that being said, too, we'll see how if corporations want to throw their money at this, who cares? Number one, that's my first thought. Secondly, will it be a good investment? Will this prove to be a savvy investment? Well, we'll see. It could. To say that, well, who's going to see it because no one's up there, that's really not the point. It's the press that would inevitably gather around being at the forefront of doing this, right? And that, it's going to be transmitted, the billboards and advertising, it's going to be transmitted down to earth for people to live stream it or see it when they want to see it. So we'll see. We'll see how much attention this garners for those who pay for this,
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how a lot of people jump to conclusions. There's this one guy, I don't want to give him any attention, but he's considers himself like a anti-scammer, justice warrior or something, and he's consequently he ends up making a lot of bullying good people and making a lot of false allegations against good people. Essentially, is what he does. Well, for a lot of the time anyway. But his whole thing was, well, they don't wake up Dogecoin community because this Geometric Energy Corporation isn't accepting Dogecoin for their to pay for their the adverts that they're about to launch into space. So his argument was, well, they gladly accepted Dogecoin for the Doge 1 mission, but won't accept it for the adverts that they're putting in space. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I was like, I don't know why he's putting this out. They haven't made a statement on this one or the other. And then less than 48 hours later, they're like, well, yeah, we accept Dogecoin for it. I was like, okay. Yeah, live advertisements in space. Yeah, to me, it just seems very Blade Runner-esque, and I don't know. I'm kind of liking the aesthetics that are swimming around in my mind associated with this sort of concept. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Sometimes you guys, like I said, it's okay to not even sure what your opinion is on something. Sometimes it's okay just to wait and see how things go. That's a perfectly rational.
We probably won't even be around to see the consequences or the impacts of all of these things that we're starting now. Let's be honest.
No, we won't be, but we also don't know. Like I said, it's okay to not have a super polarizing opinion one way or another on something. If you it's okay not to know. And there are many times you just have to wait to see how things go, honestly. I think that's a perfectly rational, reasonable stance to take. It's okay to take that stance,
Yeah.
let's see here if there's anything else I wanted to get to. Tesla, Bitcoin. Oh, yeah. So, hopefully I don't have a paywall up here. So Fortune magazine put this out. Tesla's Bitcoin bet is back in the black big time. They went on to say this: every time Bitcoin crashes to make Elon Musk's famous but look reckless Tesla stake rebounds big and fast, handing the lead cryptocurrency fans still another "we told you so" moment. An amazing reversal, flipping Tesla's holdings from red to black just happened again. Tesla now owns 42,000 in Bitcoin, or owns 42,000 Bitcoin at an average cost of 31,700 per coin. At Bitcoin's highest point of over 64,000 in April, Musk's wager had garnered realized and unrealized gains at almost 100%, or 1.5 billion. But that bounty gradually eroded. Its price drifted downward. Bitcoin slipped to a near multi-month low at 29,000. All of Tesla gains, both the 128 million profit of its 10% holdings sold in quarter one, and the coin is still on the books, and the coin's still on its books, totally vanished. Then Bitcoin roared back. Musk changed personas as if he were back on Saturday Night Live, from riverboat gambler and action hero, rocketing into space. Just 10 days later, at the end of the quarter in June, Bitcoin's price had jumped from 35,000, lifting the value of Tesla's trove by 19% to 1.47 billion. By the market close on August 6th, Bitcoin leapt another 22% to 43 billion. So, this is just interesting numbers coming out here. Just to put some perspective on this, Bitcoin, you guys, over the last month now, is showing a market sharp increase to the tune of 36%. 36% increase on Bitcoin over the last 4 weeks. Considering that the market cap is about 860 billion, those are huge numbers. Are we going to see it go into a course correction? Are we done yet? I'm not sure. As far as the bull run goes, I don't think we're done yet. I think we're going to see 50,000 in the near future, personally. And that's obviously going to, we're still in Bitcoin dominance, so that's going to reverberate all the way down. And so, also what I wanted to point out is that Elon Musk, was doing kind of the carrot and stick thing with Bitcoin, where he just wanted Bitcoin to improve itself. Excuse me, my throat's very dry this moment.
Join the club.
You got it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so he's bringing Bitcoin back into the fold, you guys, and he knows long term this is this is sound and solid. You guys, I think I'm gonna have to wind this episode down so tough, because my throat is I think it's going out on me. And it's the first time I've ever had to do this, because I've just been live streaming every night for months, and I just got to give my voice a break. I just got to do it, guys. Josh Randell disavows $10. I'm holding my ETH, but suspect ADA is going to take off much of their markets. Another $10 from Jason. Tipping you just because Josh did. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate those tips on the outro. I'm sorry I'm not able to give you more showtime, but my throat's literally not letting me continue. I just got to shut it down.
You need to try some lemon and honey and warm water and just rest for a day or so.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a day off, you guys. My voice is just... Anyway, Sadaf, this has been a real pleasure. You've just been awesome. I know the crowd loves you here as well. And
I love them too.
Yes, and yeah, I'm probably going to take a day off of streaming, and then I'll come back after I get my vocal cords and a rest, and my throat's not so wickedly dry. So thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Those of you super chat, appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the merch shop. at the pin top, the pin, the link pinned at the top of the chat. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, I think I need to take a day
Time
off.
to go.
Yes. Sadaf, thank you so much. This is very lovely, and we will do it again very soon. Thank you for everyone for coming out. And this is Stephen Steele and Sadaf Jadrin signing out. Until next time.
Love you guys.
Just the bees and birds, the summer hay.